Hello there traders. For today's analysis I decided to cover the Bitcoin market. I think there is a very important price action there and rejection from the major pivot resistance. I will also speak about the gold market and I will touch also Euro versus US dollar. So I will start with the Bitcoin market first. Something that I basically warned traders and buyers to be very careful around this 46,000, 47,000 area is basically that market reached the previous swing lows and very important pivot levels from mid-April and middle like May. We got a basically major low back then where we got basically 25% rally from, so that's a very important pivot at this stage. And I found basically that as soon as when the price reached that level around 47,000, we immediately stopped in the price action, found that level basically, and we got some reaction from sellers. And then the very next day, which was yesterday, basically we got inside day, and today there is a breakout of inside day, which is technically a breakout trade and opportunity for the more downside. I guess it was basically we were speaking about two situations here. One, if we in case of the bigger upside breakout and then pull back on the lighter volume for a further rally, and the second option was price that we can see some rejection, maybe some consolidation and breakdown, which we got right now. So this is technically a pretty bearish scenario for today and the incoming days. I guess the price came back to 40,700 level, and then we see from that pivot, if we can go lower, then definitely that can open the door for even 37,500 again. So I think this gap can be good for intraday swing play towards the 42,700, and then watch carefully this pivot. And if the price will go through this and aggressively and with good volume, then we can even maybe test 37,500. So definitely a breakout play on the Bitcoin to the downside. Speaking of the gold, I just want to touch this subject about when we lose the volume and the post-climax effect. Since this was a pretty big climax that happened like 3 days ago, and market closed in the middle. Tons of the sellers exited their short positions around the lows, and that enabled the price to rally. But the problem with current price action, the current condition, is this is a post-climax effect just a third day after the climax, and we're still trading in this big bar, in the range of this big climax bar. For me, it's a very risky environment for swing traders to be involved in post-climax effect. I will rather wait for more like maybe some kind of contraction, maybe some kind of consolidation, and after that watch for some increase in the volume to define the further direction. I will say gold is just this condition for the gold is more like a scalp only condition, and if you want to play for a swing trade or something like that, it's a little bit risky environment for that because it's a post-climax effect. Speaking of the levels, definitely level around 1758 is pretty important because that's a top of and 17. I'll see the top of this climax bar at the 1764. Very important level, 1764. If we cannot break that and sustain breakout, price can still do the downside rotation. From the other side, obviously the pivot support is previous day low at this stage around 1724. So that's a current situation. There is no spectacular price action or any kind of pattern right now on intraday. So that's just my update on the gold. And speaking of the euro dollar, just to mention that after the yesterday's a CPI month on month and core CPI month on month, we got a 0.3% versus forecasted point. So we got a negative news for the dollar, and the price reacted to the upside, and euro got basically some 25 to 30 pips climax to the upside on a very high volume, ultra high volume. That was a climax area, climatic action, and after that we got another attempt to find more buyers, but they basically just lost the power and we went very sideways, and we're still in that sideways regime. So it's a very balanced market right now after the climax, and it's a post-climax effect. And you know, now there is not any spectacular opportunity. I just need to mention this is a post-climax effect after yesterday's core CPI, which got a big impact, good impact on the market, and now it's basically very low volume environment and very sideways. You see the bar on the daily got outside range, so we got a lower low, but at the same time higher high, but the close was of the high, well of the high. So I think watch for the, we have the from one area resistance around 1.1755, and we have support around 1.1705. So I will rather wait for this eventual contraction or consolidation to either break upside like resistance and then watch for some upside opportunities on the pullback. Or wait for a breakout of support of 1.1700 level, also very important round number, and then watch for a sell on the rallies after the breakdown. So this is basically indecision level, no man's land. So my advice, watch for a confirmation or breakout of support or breakout resistance. That will all for today. See you all tomorrow.